back, and it's a party, literally. We're shooting a party scene, a little flashback to Echoes, and so it's our last shot of what turned out to be a pretty long day.
Action!
But here we are. Here we go again.
And cut! One more, please.
We're pretty much in a we'll wait and see that you're canceled situation at the end of season 1. And I never actually tried to maneuver the city or the network into picking up the show. I just tried to get them to air the 13th episode. But they ultimately didn't do it. That to me said, okay, well, clearly we're canceled.
The safest thing we can do is just cut our lines and go on lockdown.
Lockdown. I think everyone was really uncertain, but I had a good feeling, and I thought, because of what happened with Firefly, I think the network wanted to give the show a second chance.
I love this character. I wanted to come back.
We were expecting to not come back, so we had sort of thrown the kitchen sink at Epitaph 1.
Just before we did the Paley event for Dollhouse, they called me to say, look, you're not actually canceled.
I was working with Joss. We were working on this movie, and I saw him coming from 50, 60 feet away, and he was like, you know? So it's pretty awesome.
Season 2. Hulu?
This season, clearly we weren't a big hit. We had just gotten this 13-episode lease on life, and all bets were off.
We just said, screw it, let's just make this what we think it should be.
The season has been very much more assured. We came in understanding our characters and our premise, and using that to bring the Dollhouse together as a family.
What a beautiful fake family.
Do we look alike?
What we were trying to do was clear to us what hadn't worked before, but more importantly, what had worked.
I went to Comic-Con for one night and did the press lineup at the EW party, and all the reporters were like, so, Joss Whedon said he's going to take your character through the ringer. You're going to be in the pits of hell and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the party. I'm like, aren't you going to give it to me this season? And he said, oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I am.
We, kicked Echo up a notch so that she really could start to self-actualize and not be that blank slate that people weren't really responding to.
I'm afraid of Caroline. If she comes back, where will I go?
I felt like it gave me a chance to play Echo and who she's come to be beyond Caroline, beyond, Echo, the blank doll, and what she was capable of.
The fan response was instantaneous. We like this. This is the Echo we want to see.
They threw me some curveballs and were having fun with me as an actor and with the character.
But you're not getting, man, friend. Is that this whole operation is dependent upon me?
We see the tough bit to losing control.
That's the last time you'll ever speak to me like that.
Topher has been one of the highlights.
I didn't want to cause any more pain.
The evolution of the characters is ultimately what draws audiences to all of my work.
There never seems to be an end to what Joss can do with his characters in his world. He always likes to make the audience go somewhere and then sort of turn it on its head.
Take it easy. It's...
What did I miss? This is not my original body, and nor will it be the last that you would hear of Lloyd Langton.
We believed in taking chances, and this season has been really gratifying because of that. Last season, I was very conscious of not having this be a Joss Whedon joint. It's not a house party for my buddies. This season, I said, okay, now it is a party for my friends.
Look! Joss is boss!
We're a big, whacked out, dysfunctional family.
This is what I have to live with every day. Mainly, I've been kind of taking care of Joss's garden and making him a lot of coffee.
Oh, he's so weak!
Yes, I wanted to get Alexis in there, and yes, I wanted to get Summer in there. And I had these two roles that seemed tailor-made.
Beechin and Andrew and I were all drunk and dancing, and Deej's like, Marissa should be on the show.
Guess we're stuck here a while.
Megan Kilo, I believe it's called Sexiness.
We did, things like having John Cassaday direct an episode, who hadn't shot before, but who I knew had a great visual sense, which you could see in the Attic episode.
Action! We have a very similar sense of storytelling, I think, a bit of a shorthand. Joss knew that I had an eye towards doing this sort of work and wanted to get behind a camera, and he's given me this chance to do something. I don't think we quite got it that time. Let's do it one more time.
Those are chances that I would not have bothered to take with other shows, but this was one where we could feel how thin the ice was.
You're here, and you're just like,
Hey, and the whole time we're pulling your seat.
By the end of the second season, we were getting into, we are clearly going to be canceled again territory. So there was a lot of work to do to build towards the final crisis.
The apocalypse!
We really wanted to bring back that future storyline, and we were in love with it. But we also had all the main characters to pay off, and that was a lot to do.
Dr. Saunders was very much a heart of the piece. Then we found out we only had her for 3 episodes. Luckily, I got to shoot the scene between her and Topher in the server room, which is my favorite work of mine on this show by a long shot.
You need a freaking treatment.
Why shouldn't I love you? Aren't you lovable? Aren't you Big Brother? Aren't you the Lord, my God? This season, they've really gotten a lot of great ideas, and now they're kind of like, wait, we had so much more to say.
There are all these characters we would love to have paid off more.
When I got stuck into the attic, and it's infinitely more horrible than I could have even imagined.
Obviously, Melly, November, Madeline.
It's my last day.
I'm gonna cry.
I think the way they end it with her and Paul is very poetic and the way it's supposed to be. I think the fans will be happy.
Well, we always have more in store. I had a whole vision of the show sort of evolving into almost, we refer to it as the Charlie's Angels, Adele's Angels. Victor, Sierra, and Echo go on these missions to try anywhere where the tech was being abused, go solve the problem, fight the power. And Echo was the leader, Sierra was kind of the anchor, and Victor would start spinning out of control.
You hit him. Why'd you hit him?
He's still connected.
I wrote up the whole proposal and spoke to the studio, and I said, oh yeah, but you were canceled. Like, on that day. So the last episode was exhausting because there were so many people, so many payoffs, so many things. And then I think we gave Echo what I like to think of as one of the weirdest happy endings I've ever come up with.
I've never seen Joss end something in a way that wasn't beautiful. You're all watching the DVD, so you know how it ends. But we ended in the apocalypse, and she's imprinted with her love and her man.
Are we? Joss came in, and I've sensed something from him. There was something on his mind.
We did our first scene with everybody in the room. For the first time, it was the end of the attic when everybody is there, and we go, now we are a team, we will take down Rossum. And that was a good time for me to come to everybody and congratulate them and announce that we'd been canceled.
In the middle of going, yay, we're all together, it turned into a cry of grief. And then it was on the internet about 3 seconds later.
We were like, oh. A very bizarre moment, but there's no good time to say it.
In a way, our second season was sort of like a bonus season because nobody ever thought with our ratings that we'd get picked up. But it just goes to show how hard our fans were pulling for us.
Well, obviously, from the initial inception to season 2, there were a lot of bumps in the road. Some people were made very uncomfortable because we were dealing with issues of sexuality, and by not exploring it, the more it seemed to be the elephant in the room. Hopefully, people can take feminist ideals away from this. The idea was very simply, this woman doesn't exist. She literally doesn't exist, and she builds herself from scratch. To me, that is the most powerful act that a person can do.
This season, I've done a lot of identifying and a lot of personalizing with the things that Echo went through and lived through. All of the fears and strengths and insecurities and triumphs and failures. And I mean, all of these emotions that have been in my own life and sort of started in my adolescence. It's been a very cathartic show.
Funny that the last fantasy the Dollhouse would fulfill would be yours.
I want to do everything. I still love television because, like with Dollhouse, we get to examine the question that we're interested in over and over from all these different angles. I love telling stories. That's why, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Would I do more TV? Yes. Would I try to make sure that it was TV somebody wanted to watch? Yeah, that might be on my list.
Joss is the kind of person who never wants to artistically be stalled, and that's really inspirational to me. So, I mean, I can't wait to see what he does after Dollhouse. He just never does the same thing twice.
The thing that was so compelling about the show for everyone writing it is just the gray area we were always in.
The good thing is that the show kind of felt like a different TV show every single time. We were constantly mixing things up. When we hit really hard.
It's funny, at Dollhouse, when you think about it, you can add rooms, but also the shape of the Dollhouse is constantly changing as you're, shifting around rooms, and that's kind of the way this show was.
I think Dollhouse ultimately was probably not right for network television, but this is where Eliza was, and Eliza was the reason I thought of the show, and she's the person I wanted to do the show with.
I just can't think of a show that could have been so personal and so special to me, and it's been 2 of the best years of my life.
I do feel like I made some mistakes along the way in structuring the show and knowing the network that I was making it for, but I'm enormously proud of this weird thing that we accomplished, this thing that we created, this family that we got to build, and this world we got to explore. I love this show. I'm grateful that this came into my life, that it crawled into my brain, and that I got to play in it for 26 episodes. I wouldn't have had it